Testing 1, 2, 3. Hey, how's it going? Hey, thanks for dropping by for another, smoke-filled episode of The Cheap Bastard's Guide to Surviving the Apocalypse. Now, I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but once we got the whole food and shelter thing worked out, the next really big problem we're going to have is what to do when you're out after dark and spider monkeys beat you up and steal your flashlight. Now, I've crunched the numbers, and it's got to be at least in the top 5 problems that we're going to be encountering. So, got to figure out a way of dealing with it. So, how do you get back to the compound, right? That's the question. So, I did a bit of brainstorming, and check this out. 100% off the grid solar path lights. Huh? Not bad, eh? They charge during the day, and they stay lit all night long. That's right, baby. All night long. Light goes on, light goes off. Light goes on, light goes off. It's perfect. So, would you like to learn how to make one of these? Of course you don't. Am I going to show you anyway? Yep, damn straight I am. So, if this isn't your thing, just hit the eject button down there. Otherwise, strap in for the ride. So we're going to need some parts to make some of these, and being that it's, not quite the apocalypse yet, I can't suggest that you go out in the middle of the night and maybe liberate some of the many, many solar lights that are scattered about. So we're going to have to do it the legit way and buy them. And I don't know why I put legit in quotes, because you know what? I actually did buy all the parts. No, I didn't just wing. We're going to need a few things from here. And we'll grab ourselves a battery cage. I'm not super fond of these. This is a model off of Thingiverse. They have a bit of a spring to them. They tend to deform over time, so I'll probably redesign that with a little bit of more reinforcement in the middle and on the bottom, I guess. And some battery connectors. We'll need a springy end and a nipply end. And remember that Vero board that you bought and you were all jacked up about making circuits, and then you got it and never did anything with it? Well, now's your chance to use it, because this is actually kind of the perfect project for it. Works really well. And from the magic blue box, we're going to need a couple of things. We're going to need some inductors here. And where are they? Here we go. These, the YX8018 LED solar boost driver. All the materials for this will be in the description, and there's not very many, so don't worry about it. LED, of course. I'm sure you've got a dime bag of these hanging around somewhere. Doesn't seem to matter too much. They're all around 20-30 milliamps, so that should do ya. And we're going to need some wire, and what I've been using is this 28 gauge stuff. I know it's damn thin, but once you've got the whole thing together, it doesn't really move around a lot, so there's not a lot of breakage, but you might want to use something with a little more robustness if you're, I don't know, opening it up all the time. So now I'm totally aware that these solar lights are dirt cheap, and there doesn't seem to be any reason to make them yourself. But I'll tell you why I got into this. I had these go on top of a 4x4 post, and I bought them. They weren't that expensive at the time. I think I got them on sale, but they're copper, like they're actual copper, and they're kind of nice, and I didn't want to just chuck them after they shit the bed on me. So I thought I'd repair it, and to do that, I took one apart and ended up finding out that, you know what, there's nothing in them. There's almost nothing in these things. So that is the circuit for these solar lights here. Got an LED, that's that YX8018 thing, and that is the inductor, and that's it. So the other one rusted out a bit and lost its connectivity, and I think I still even have it. So as you can see, it's all rusted out, and all I did was order the parts and made a new one and rescued my my fancy copper 4x4 capper. So then once you've got the parts, well, you might as well make a few more. So that's where that ended up. And I think we should maybe keep track of how much this is actually going to cost. So as we go along and use up these parts, we'll tally them up. I'm not too confident that's going to come in under what you could buy it for, but yeah, we'll see. This is the data sheet for that YX8018 chip, and it's written in freaking awesome English. It says the charging power in the pond LED lights up stably. The light of the sun is SAW when it hits the battery. It charges the rechargeable battery, and with rechargeable battery charged at night, LED dot, light automatic switching, dot, dot, dot. So I think you get the point there. It does what it's supposed to do, I guess. Anyway, they provide, you know, some circuits, sample circuits that work here, and we're going to be using this one. It's very, very simple, and I just translated that onto like a, you know, I don't know what you would call it, a picture, I guess, that we can use for the Vero board. So here's my picture, and actually let's use this. Yeah, we'll use this one here. So you can see that everything just kind of lines up quite nicely, and you just need a few leads for the solar and the battery. Very, very simple to do. So I think the first thing to do here is just cut out a bit of Vero board in the right dimensions, and then we'll get slapping this thing together. If you're going to use the 3D printer model thingies that I made, you're going to need a little piece of Vero board that's 1, 2, 3, looks like 6 by 5 little dots.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each Nissan she go. So we'll cut her there as well.
Oh, just like that. And this actually is a little bit too large with the little green edges around it, so we'll just sand her down. You might want to print out your plastic bits first so that you can judge how big this actually should be. So it actually goes like that, and sort of snaps in, or you can slide it in, which is probably a little safer. But yeah, too big. Well, it's easy enough to fix. Sandy on the various sides, and just make it to fit. That's all you got to do. So there it fits. Actually, I just sanded a little too much. Oh shit. Anyway, you get the idea. So I guess this is our first expense, should you choose to use it. Okay, here's an up close of the brains of the operations. This is the YX8018. And if you have the lettering towards you, then pin 1 is on the left there. So our components are going to go on the non-copper side. We're going to put the 8018 in the middle on the 6th edged side with the label. Do I have the label? See, this is how you get in trouble. With the label facing towards you, which it's not. So yeah, flip it around, make sure the label is facing toward you, and then pin 1 will be on the left. Yeah, more like that. And we'll just flip it over and solder those points up. Now I can't pretend to know how this little solar boost driver works. I kind of thought I knew what it was doing. I thought it was actually going to boost up the voltage for the LED, but then I mocked it up on a breadboard, and nope, the voltage is the same as the battery. So I don't know. It's obviously doing something, but I just don't know what it is. And this is that inductor I was talking about. It's 100 nanohenries, which, you know, doesn't sound like a unit to me, more like a locker room taunt. But yeah, it's kind of like a capacitor, but for amperage instead of voltage. So what it's doing is, I think, driving the amperage on the LED. And this is 100 nanohenries, and if you look at the data sheet, it's actually, we're supposed to be using something closer to 47, but me no have 47, so me use 100. And I measured, and we're getting about 10 milliamps across the LED with that, so it's fine. This little inductor is going to go between pins 1 and 4 on the 8018 there. So I'll just try and clamp these down. That's not a lot of space. And again, we're putting it on the non-copper side and then soldering on the other side. Okay. Next up, is our LED. Of course, I'm sure you're all familiar with this. There's a long leg, there's a short leg. Long leg is the positive, and for our application, positive goes to pin 1, so the furthest on the left, and then right next door is where the ground will go. We'll just slap that through there. Now, make sure that you give it a little bit of space because, you know, here, can I show you this? It's got to go up through that hole. So it's sitting down closer to the bottom. It's got to go up through the hole and into the little clear part. So, you know, give it some room. For God's sake, give it a little room. Now, normally I'd be doing this with an arc lamp and a giant magnifying glass, but that doesn't work in this case, so I am doing this blind. And I think I got it there. Looks like it. Okay. So let me just double check to make sure I got this right. Blah, blah, blah. Pretty simple. If you're pretty confident that everything's going okay here, didn't screw it up, you can trim off all the little bits on the bottom. Make it easy for yourself in the future, etc. Okay. Now, all that's left to do is fire on some leads for the solar and the battery. So like I done said before, I'm going to use this 28 gauge wire here, and we are going to need 2 positives and 2 negative leads. Okay, so both positive leads for the battery and for the solar are going to hook into that pin 4 rail right on the far right there. So we'll solder those on. And so in spite of my own ineptitude, I did manage to do it. And now we just need a couple of ground wires. There's 2 ground wires. One long one here for the battery goes to pin 2, which is the same pin as the ground on the LED. And the other one is a shorter one that goes to the solar panel, and that goes to pin 3. Pin 3 is like the control mechanism for this thing. So when it goes to ground, because there's you know, sunshine going to the solar panel, it'll switch off the LED. So that's all there is to it. Now, what you can do here, especially for the ones that go to the battery, is just kind of sew them into the board. And that'll kind of provide a little bit of strain relief. So I'm just going to do that with these 2. The other 2 go up to the solar panel, so it's probably not much help to do that. But anyway, there you go. And it's all frickin' blurry, of course. Stupid camera. There you go. So yeah, just sew them down into the base. And just as a reminder, these edges here, this 5-side edges, have to be kind of free of debris because that's where it clips into the holder on the thing. So keep those open. All right, so I'm just going to hook this up to a power supply. Quick and dirty. Should go on. Hey, look at that. Goes on. Go figure. Now, solar side. We need to hook this up to a solar panel, see if it turns it on and off. And I just realized I didn't actually pick out a solar panel, did I? Well, well, well. We're down one part. So let's grab one of those. All right, what are we looking for here? Something that looks just like, yeah, something square anyway. Here we go, one of these. These are 45 by 45 millimeters, and they will fit perfectly in that little housing on the top of the solar light. So if you're following the design exactly, you'll want to get some of these. They put out, I think, 1.5 volts, and ain't expensive. So this is what you want to get, I guess. Negative to negative, oh. And positive to positive. There we go. Now, light goes on, light goes off. Whew, that was a close one. Wasn't sure it was going to happen, but there it is. So yeah, working fine. We should be able to put this together, but we need to print some parts, obviously, so let's get doing that. Here we have the blender model for this thing, and I thought maybe we could try and dumb this down a bit by getting rid of that thing, and then we'll kind of merge these two together. And well, there we go. So we can print this battery case and the spike all in one shot rather than as two separate pieces. Let's give that a try. This is the slicer program, and we're printing this on its side like this because then the layering provides more strength in the spike. If you have it going the other direction, then it can kind of snap off and be weak. So if you run it this way, it's much stronger. This print on its edge just saves a bunch of peeling away supports. It just supports along here. If we just slice it, I can show you where the supports are. So yeah, so there you go. So you can see this just supporting along that edge works out fine. And this piece, you're going to have to crack off the supports under there as well. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Let's slice and dice it, send it to the printer. As you may have guessed, these are printed in PETG because they tend to warp less in the outside world. And I did the same for the lens piece here. Wow, color temperature is very different over here, and it's not focusing anymore. What the? Come on, you stupid piece of... There we go. So this is also printed in PETG, same reason. Okay, I think we got everything here. Let's grab a fistful of Allen wrenches and get on assembling. First thing we're going to do here is just snap this little piece on here. I had to do a little filing here where the the support snapped off, but anyway, it's a nice tight snap fit there, and I don't think there's going to be too much problem with water because it does have a little lip on the inside there as well, so it could be okay. And then our electronic piece here, take your two solar wires and just make sure it is the solar wire, that one and that one, yeah, and they go up through here, and oh, that needs to come up a little too. All right, if it doesn't snap, we'll slide it in, but I think it's going to snap. There we go. Straighten out the LED a bit, and we just need to solder these onto the solar panel. But first, now this is where I think we just need a little bit of sealant along this edge here, and just make sure that that's, not going to leak, because it is the roof after all. I bought a bunch of these tubes of silicone just to do little tiny jobs, but it comes with that big long thing with the snip off top. Oh, I can probably show you this thing here, which as soon as you use it once, you can stick a nail in there or whatever, but it's not going to seal it up and it gets all chunked up. It's basically useless. And also, just FYI, the threading on here was so terrible that it wouldn't even clamp down. So totally useless. So what I did was printed a bunch of these, and so we can just take this off, thread this on here, and then we'll squeeze out the amount we want. I suppose you could just squeeze it out of the, right out of the end, but just like that. We'll put our solar panel in, like so. It should snap in fairly nicely. I think so. Just give this a little wipe. Should be okay. If you want to clamp it down, it's probably not a terrible idea, but yeah, you be you. Okay, so we do need to solder the wires onto here, which is kind of why you want them a little bit long. Maybe I should have made these a little bit longer. It's going to be a little bit irritating to do, but do it. All right, and if you have the nice thin wires, then they don't show up so much in the light. That clicks onto there. It is also quite tight. Here we go. Come on, you're going to go on. There we go, just like that. Yeah, wouldn't hurt to let that dry. Okay, that's the top. And now our battery. You just need to solder the leads onto the battery. Should be easy enough. Old shaky hands McGee here. Come on. All right, and you can see it is working. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, so here's our spike. Slide that in there. Tuck these wires in. We're lucky. Everything is gonna work out just fine. Oh, and you can see I've already ripped off the positive end on that. Oh my God. Okay, that's the downside of using these thin wires. They do break. There we go. And that's it. Now, I think these are pretty watertight, all things considered, as long as you've got a good seal here. So, and I don't think things are gonna migrate under there too much. You shouldn't get too much water in there. If you're concerned about it, then maybe just run a bead of silicone along that edge. Can't hurt, I guess, right? Other than that, that's it. It is done. Time to tally up the score. So here's what we're up against, fresh off the boat from Bezos land. Got 12 lights for $33, and Jeff has kindly worked out that that comes to $2.75 a light. Well, that's going to be pretty damn hard to beat. All right, let's see how we fared here. Wow, looks like the battery in the solar panel really will set you back there. So the grand total is, yep, $3.49. And that gives us a delta money in favor of Jeff of 74 cents. So congratulations. You see, this is why he's got a rocket shaped like a penis and I don't. Well, it looks like buying these off the old Panda Express is a little bit cheaper than making them from scratch. But hey, you really want the same solar lights as everybody else? Of course you don't. You want something cool, interesting. Something that says, that guy's crazy. Don't make eye contact. And besides, in the words of Barack Obama, if you like your solar lights, you can keep your solar lights because it only takes a handful of parts and you already got a shitload of Vero Board. Now, if you really think that Bezos needs a second penis rocket, then by all means, take your broken solar lights and pitch them in the bin and buy new ones. But if you don't, then just fix them. Thanks for watching. Cheers.